place where we can go and be alone. So come away with me, nobody has to know where we gonna go.
Hello everyone, we're out for another disused railway walk and explore. It's basically a year since we went on our first walk together, Phil.
Yeah, almost to the day.
Almost to the day, so this is a sort of bromance anniversary.
Yep.
And in fact, if you remember, I was wearing a Sparta Prague shirt that day and I've worn one today especially.
Oh, right.
So how cute is that?
Okay.
We're joined by Andy as well, not seen Andy for a while actually. Right. What we're going to do, we're going to follow the old Midland Railway Watnall branch from just outside Langley Mill down to Moorgreen Colliery, and then we're going to follow the line on then to Watnall Colliery and we'll see what remains there. But first we're going to have a look at Brinsley Headstocks, if we can find them. So Phil, on that first walk we did, we were supposed to walk to Moorgreen Colliery, but the heavens opened, so we sacked that bit off and we ended up coming here to the headstocks, the beautiful wooden headstocks of a colliery that was built in 1842, and they're not there anymore. Why is that? You know, Andy. Huh. I've thrown Andy under the bus. The council is why, is the answer. The council.
The council decided that the headstocks were unsafe and dangerous, and they decided to take them down to put them into storage so they could repair, etc, etc. But they sent out a contractor who basically butchered them, ripped them down, and all that is now left is some wheels that are in storage. That's it.
Yeah, well,
we've got our own theories.
Well, when we came here last time, they were clearly unsafe, or so they say, because there was a wire kind of fence around it. That's obviously gone now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that brick thing is there. Is that where they used to, someone stood on there, did it?
Well, if I come up here, see these two circles, obviously, they're the holes. They were the shafts, the mine shafts going down. Now you can see the little plinths. They're left. Now last time we were here, they had amazing wooden headstocks on there, and they were the last wooden headstocks remaining in the UK, and in true lack of foresight fashion they've been chopped down so that future generations can't explore them and witness them like we did.
If these contractors were so good at chopping things down, why don't they get rid of these signs? Because they're not really accurate, are they now?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, do not attempt to climb on them. It's not worth it, is it? So we're going to walk away now, and we're going to go basically to the outskirts of Langley Mill, where we're going to start this walk on the Midland Railway. This area, Brinsley and Brinsley Headstocks, Brinsley Colliery, is really famous. It's synonymous with D.H. Lawrence, the very famous writer and poet, because his dad worked at this colliery in a pretty high up job of some kind of foreman or whatever, and so they lived in a house for a bit just on the outskirts of the colliery. And when he wrote Sons and Lovers, that was a story that was related to some goings on, wasn't it, you were saying? Yeah. Basically a big wealthy landowner who was a bit of an arse. And actually at the start of that film, the film adaptation of that, they show Brinsley Headstocks. I actually found that film when we came here before, so I'll put a little clip up of that now, so you can see what it looked like when it was one, working, and two, the council didn't get involved.
And Glenda Jackson doing a terrible Nottingham accent.
And that. Now, if I put up Rail Map online, what we're going to be walking is a section of those yellow lines. Now Brinsley is the bit at the top. We're going to come down and we're going to start off just shy of Moorgreen Colliery, just on the edge of Langley Mill. We're going to walk through the complex of what was Moorgreen Colliery, past Park Colliery, and then eventually through a deep cutting in towards Watnall Colliery, where unfortunately the M1 gets in the way, and that'll be the end of the stomp. Okay, so where we're going to start our walk is basically the other side of that huge spoil tip. think they need a new sign. So we're at the side of the road, just on the edge of Eastwood, not far from Langley Mill. Now when me and Phil did this walk before, and we tried to get to Moorgreen, as I mentioned earlier, it started raining horribly. We were basically mucking around at those beautiful Amazon warehouses. Stunning architecture. As an architect yourself, you would appreciate just how beautiful they are.
Absolutely.
And basically they locked off what was the Midland Railway. It's the path, but they blocked it off and we couldn't get down there, and unfortunately we still can't get down there. So we're going to start this end. Now, Andy's got quite an interesting story. So this here, excuse the traffic, I know it's annoying, this is that Watnall branch of the Midland Railway that we're going to get on and walk in a bit. That was open up until about 1986, and a line went across there into Brinsley, where we've obviously just been. Now this huge spoil heap here was part of the Plumtree Colliery, or the New England Colliery, depends who you ask. But you had quite an interesting story about that spoil heap, Andy.
Just that there was a farmhouse where about halfway of where that spoil tip is now.
It's massive.
And they had a landslip that fell into part of the house. Thankfully, nobody was in it, and everyone was fine. But they just carried on and covered it. So if you feel like digging into that, you're going to find yourself a nice big house.
It's about the only way I could afford a farmhouse, I think, is if I'd have to dig it out myself. Right, so this was a level crossing field. Basically where we were a second ago, where Andy was telling us about the house getting buried, that's literally the other side of those trees there. The bridge came over, the railway came over the road. Now here, there was a foot crossing, is that right, Phil?
I won't call it a level crossing. They called it a foot crossing, but it's a farm track crossing, I suppose. But no gates, it was just, just look, make sure nothing's coming in there.
And then off you go, yeah. So this is the Midland Railway, Watnall branch, so it's going off there to Moorgreen Colliery. Now that is Eastwood up there, where, if I'm right, that's where the Midland Railway was invented, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
At the Sun Inn pub.
At the Sun Inn pub.
Yes.
A couple of pints and we'll start a rail company.
Something like that, yes. But basically as to break the monopoly of Great Northern. So there's a plaque on the wall actually at the Sun Inn pub to say that's where the Midland Railway was first drawn together and formed, and then go to Parliament and get your statement to say you can do it, and away you go.
Job done. Right, we're going to follow that then. This, believe it or not, is the track bed down to Moorgreen Colliery. So this line, despite how overgrown it is now, was actually open until around about 1985, 1986, because Moorgreen Colliery closed in 85, but as what happens with these collieries, when they close, the railway basically remains open, sometimes for a couple of 3 years afterwards while they're still extracting stuff. And they used to take all the coal down to Langley Mill, basically just shy of, or just past, sorry, where those beautiful Amazon buildings are, where there was all these sorting sidings and stuff, and then they would be sent off to power stations, because Andy was saying to me a second ago, basically the coal that came out of Moorgreen was such high quality, they were getting that out to the power stations at Radcliffe and all these other areas around Nottinghamshire, to power the country, basically. Okay, so there's another crossing there. I don't know if this path was there back in the days of the railway or whether that's come later, but we've crossed over that, and that's not really looking much like a track bed anymore, but I'll come down and see just how far down we can get. Unfortunately, it's another kind of on and off job for a bit, as a lot of these are, because, well, two reasons. One, the hell are overgrown, a lot of them, but also you're dealing with private land. And in a previous life, before I was filming, I might well have had a look, but do you know what I mean? Can't really go on private land and then put it on YouTube, because sort of, bang to rights, Your Honour. And yeah, not tonight, Henry. Okay, so walk round and get a little bit closer to Moorgreen Colliery itself. This wind isn't particularly helpful. And there are remains there, remains of lots of the buildings, and remains of a bridge that went into the complex and all sorts. So yeah, we'll have a stomp around there. Oh mate. So we've come round now from where that level crossing was, and while we've been walking, having a look on the phone, I managed to find a photo of a train going across that, so that's awesome. Always helps in terms of, kind of trying to get you to imagine exactly how it was when it was working. Now we're coming up to a bridge that Phil used to drive across. Is that right?
Yeah, but I went to train driver. That used to be, that still is Cornton Steelworks. And when I used to be an ATV driver for quite a long time, and I used to carry steel around. And to get to the trailer park where we used to pick up the steel loads, that bridge was utilised as access, so I used to drive across, swing round and drop down and get my load of steel, then go back along the bridge, yeah, and off I went to God knows where in Britain with it all.
How long did it take for you to realise that was a railway bridge, Phil?
Half a second.
Half a second.
In 1994, I think it'd have been 95 when I first went over it, yeah.
Red brick, and then the steel on top as well.
I noticed they've put some safety.
Yes.
They weren't there when we used to go over in the wagons. They've improved health and safety on it because it's a proper road up there now. They've improved the surface. It were
right.
Shackle when I used to go across. It was like 2 mile an hour job, and you'd be pulling a lorry full of steel across, and you'd be thinking, Christ, is this going to fall off? But it's a smooth road now up there.
Yeah. And this would have been a road once, but it's seen better days.
It's the average Derbyshire road at the moment.
Oh mate, the whole country's like it, what a mess. And there's some of the old stonework, look, and then the brick. Look at that. There you go. So we just walk up now. Interesting thing about this, so this colliery went in 1985, and I think the line went, do you nearly fall over then?
Almost.
The line went about 86, I think. But actually the National Coal Board invested about 1.25 million in this whole complex, in kind of modernising it, not that long before it closed. So anyone watching this that has an answer as to why they did that, please let us know, because it seems like poor business sense. Okay, so we've had a look at that bridge, which Phil's well proud of the fact that he's driven over. And we're actually coming into Moorgreen Colliery complex pretty much now. It was a pretty big colliery, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, quite a large one.
And your dad worked here as well?
He did, yeah, amongst thousands of other people.
So here we go. Now these, I mean, obviously they're modern buildings, these ones here, but these are old enough. I mean, they're Victorian, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of the old buildings that they maintained and kept, and just obviously repurposed for warehousing and things like that. Obviously the headstocks and things have all gone. Up until probably 90s, there still was rails in the road and things that you'd drive down and
get all excited about.
Yeah. But they've all been long gone up and stuff, because the 90s, even though it feels like it's 10 years ago, it's 30 plus.
Oh God, that's terrifying. Makes me feel old, that does, doesn't it? So here's that building again that we were looking at. We were just making the point. Oh, here we go, look at that. Yeah, see the word pit, must be important. It actually looks like the back of an old school football ground, that. There's the top of the stand. Anybody remember going somewhere like the baseball ground or Filbert Street or any of those old school Victorian football grounds? So all modern buildings, but this was the colliery site. Now this one, obviously this is an old building. I'm hopefully try and recognise it from old photos if I can, but look, that's a nice little touch that they've put the, well, I guess it's supposed to be like a winding arm on there, and there you go, there's even the D.H. Lawrence as well. That links back to Brinsley. Okay, so there's the building that me and Andy were looking at a second ago, obviously with that old, I guess it's supposed to simulate a headstock there. Now, you're saying, Phil, the line came across here?
Yeah, if you look at them poplar trees, is that what they call poplar trees, them there? Look?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person. They're popular because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, but anyway. Yeah, there used to be a single line, the one that we've been kind of walking on earlier. It used to, over the bridge that we showed you earlier, it used to come along here and it used to span out into 4 or 5 lines, and the lines used to be embedded in this road really up until early 90s. I remember going over them when I used to first start driving, and they used to come out straight into the colliery complex. Which so
that's the colliery complex, right?
I mean, there was buildings from the colliery on this side, workshops, but the main headstocks were on that side.
Got you.
And if you look over there, you can see a sort of artificial rise there.
Yeah.
It used to be like a branch that used to go down to some sand pits, and it could have been a brickworks, I guess. Maybe it was to supply. Well, what do you use sand for? What would they use it for? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I bet it was connected to the colliery, basically, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so, you tend to find collieries have sand pits and brickworks as part of them for whatever reason.
It's about a mile down there, but yeah, this was very sort of, well, I don't know how busy it was, but this is the crossing point that trains used to depart the colliery, and then off they went to Langley Mill down that direction there.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, what Phil was saying there about all these lines fanning out into 7, we're going to go across to the other side of this industrial estate where those 7 or so lines fanned back in. Do you fan back in? Came back in into one single line, and then that branch then goes off to Watnall Colliery under the M1 and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a bit of an explore at that point in terms of what we can get on and what we can't get on in terms of private land and M1s, because I'm not messing around with cars at 70 mile an hour. So we've just come out of that Moorgreen Industrial Park, as it is now, was Moorgreen Colliery, and that's quite nice that there's at least some kind of memory of it. Now the line, once it became a single one, once it fanned together, whatever that means, it went down there. Now is that an original post? Have I got excited for no reason? I'm getting excited about wooden posts these days. So far I've sunk. No, that's new. Okay. So this is where the line came then, and that's the track bed down there then?
Yeah, you can fit it. It'd be quite easy to make out, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, you can. I'm wearing.
You can probably leg it down.
I was going to say I'm wearing trousers and boots, so I can get away with it today. Although there are a lot of stingers. But right, we've got some track bed action then, which is great. There are a lot of stingers though. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Was a junction here, Phil?
Well, this is a bit further down, but we're not going to go to it through other metals. Yeah, it's a bit further on. There was a left fault opposite the res. You used to go into Highpark Colliery to the left, which is an early victim. It's one of these collieries that we don't know about because it were like pre-World War II. You know, we're quite familiar with 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's really old, and I'm pretty certain it was absorbed by the nearby Moorgreen Colliery. So it's been gone a long time. It's just an expanse of flat land now, but we might be able to see where it was. But that went off to the left, and this branch carried on to the right and headed off to Watnall, yeah.
Okay, so we'll try and get around these stingers and find the rest of that.
Yeah, we'll see what we can get down there, yeah.
So we'll walk round, as Phil's just said, and get on the track bed the other side of that, where it's actually a little bit more passable. Watnall was relatively early in terms of its demise. It went in 1950, but I think, was it right that a brickworks remained there up until the 2000s? So that's why I guess why that is a bit more accessible down that end. So we followed by the side of the track bed, because obviously, you know, it was massively overgrown, but it's coming through here. Now this, you know, wasteland that looks like Mars was Highpark Colliery, and as Phil was talking about earlier, it was an early one that went pre Second World War, but still nothing here.
Apart from the pit houses.
Apart from the pit houses, yeah, just through there. Now hopefully we should be able to get on a decent section of track bed in a bit. I'm not entirely sure whereabouts that is. Andy, Phil's found the track bed. So even though this site of Highpark Colliery went, you know, pre-Second World War, if you look around, there's tons of old brickwork, and obviously you can tell by the colour of it, it's got that real colliery vibe. Now down here is the track bed of that Midland Railway Watnall branch that we've been kind of skirting on and off. So down to the right is where we were just a few minutes ago, and there's your track bed skirting round the edge of Highpark Colliery. So thankfully at this point the track bed's kind of been turned into a slightly more comfortable path, and as Andy just reacted as we kind of opened up out of the darkness, is just how beautiful it is round here. You can see why D.H. Lawrence was loving it.
The country of my heart, I believe he called it.
Ah, there you go. I can get on board with that. So if you look into the distance, look at that huge hill, that pit tip. That's basically where we started, and then down there you've got all the industrial units, which you can't see because obviously the trees. A little bit further to the right of that you've got Brinsley, where we first started the walk, and now we're following it towards Watnall. What a beautiful location this is. I mean, I go on about Derbyshire, but Nottinghamshire is pretty good too. Okay, so we've come down from where I was a second ago, looking at the beautiful Nottinghamshire countryside. Now here we found the track bed again, this line of trees here. Now it's people's houses, so I don't want to film people's houses, but this was a level crossing here. So this is just a dirt track, level crossing straight across there, and the line continues to Watnall. Now if you look up there, that is an old priory, which basically went into ruin after Henry VIII, you know, chose, you know, different women over the church. So maybe we'll come and have a look at that another time. But what we're going to have to do is walk up now and come back round. A bit of on and off, but it is what it is. Okay, so we're in the woods. Just down there, that's where I was just showing that level crossing between those two people's houses. Now, if we come down here, if Phil's done his sums right, which to be fair, he normally has, we should be coming in to a cutting. Because I know what you're thinking. There haven't been a shed load of remains like often there are when we do these walks. You know, normally we can find tons of like tunnels and stuff, especially some of those walks we did up in Wales and Shropshire and stuff like that. But obviously part of the fun is actually trying to find remains when they're not that easy. You're in the cutting, aren't you? Oh, mate, I'm out of breath for this clambering. I've been stung to bits. There was a comment on a video a few weeks ago actually, ow, saying that Phil sounds less out of breath than me. And I was saying, I think that's because you're sort of a bit of a machine, Phil. And also because when I'm trying to clamber around like a plonker, I'm still talking.
Any excuse.
Any excuse. Okay, as usual, I'll film myself coming down just in case I fall over, because that's always fun.
Well, what do you know?
Mate, it's a proper cutting now. And it stinks of garlic. And I'm hungry. Can I see brickwork? I can.
Yeah, an old, what would you call it?
Oh, that garlic is so strong.
Something used to go over, yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised I can smell that garlic as strong as I can, because my hay fever is brutalising me at the minute, but... Oh, mate. This is crazy, Phil, because we are just in the woods, surrounded by trees, surrounded by fields surrounding that, and all of a sudden you're in a Midland Railway cutting.
Yeah, this is probably the most heavily engineered stretch, isn't it, really? Think about it, from where we've come along. We've had to dig all this out, and there's a bridge remains there, look.
That's incredible.
And there's Andy.
Andy's on top of the bridge.
He found it before us.
Oh, mate. So this is just a single line, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't do it, Andy. That is... Oh, mate, I mean...
That's a weird bridge.
It really is. It's like an old castle or something.
Yeah, it's a strange structure, that, isn't it?
It is like a... It does look like a medieval
It's
medieval
very narrow,
castle.
And if a line came here, it's very narrow to screen over for this. It's there, yeah.
That's all been filled that
But
side, yeah.
Sticks out, doesn't it?
It really does. And given it's just a public bridleway, I mean, that's quite a structure.
It's weird brickwork as well.
Actually, what's that? That's...
It's not sniffing sleepers, are you?
No, I'm wondering if that's the top of the bridge that's come down.
Oh yeah, it's brickwork, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's strange, isn't it? That's weird, look at that. I don't know.
That, honestly, it looks medieval to me, that.
Gritstone, that is.
Yeah. Beautiful structure, though.
So I wonder if this will have an arch.
But then look, the stonework is that is...
It's a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
This is definitely end of stanchion here, there's no doubt about it, but that side looks...
But that bit comes out quite far. No, it does, it comes out here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is... Just looks really thin.
Yeah.
But amazing. Just hidden away. Incredible. You know, if you're not into trains and railways and history and that sort of stuff, you just, I don't know what you'd think really. Maybe that, you know, an old stream or something used to come through here, but no, this is engineered. Awesome. And then we're about to hit the M1. That's engineered and all. Right, just come out of the cutting.
Is it? Is it a snake?
That's a snake, mate.
A dead one?
It's not waking up. Oh, well, that's sad. I'm sorry you've passed away, snake.
It shows there is snakes around.
Yeah. So just bumped into a local chap who happens to know a load about snakes. That's a python, apparently.
I know. Good one.
I don't know what that's doing in Nottinghamshire, but there you go. Deceased though, unfortunately. He reckons that it's a pet that's probably died and someone's just abandoned it, which is a bit harsh, but I'm not a fan of snakes. Okay, so in there, the cutting, the python, Now this, believe it or not, was a cutting that continued, same as the one we've been walking on. And Phil's telling me it went in line basically with those telegraph poles and down there and under the M1 as it is, but obviously the M1 wasn't there at that point, so it wasn't going under or over it. It was basically going bosh straight through what is now the M1. And you can see the cars there. Beautiful countryside, motorway. So those telegraph poles that the line was following in that cutting came across here, Phil.
Oh yeah, they do. Right along it and all.
See the embankment still.
And there's the embankment.
Still single track.
Yeah, you can tell it's thin, can't you?
Yeah, it widens out though, because just before it hits where the M1 built, it kind of spreads out into the old colliery site. So, but the M1 built after, so there's no chance to see
No
that.
chance.
No.
So the line went round there, and then basically where all those Tetra masts and 4G masts and all that sort of stuff, that's the M1. And then beyond that, you hit Watnall Colliery, which went in 1950, and then the brickworks, which you were saying you remember the chimneys being blown up.
Yeah, the chimneys were blown up in the 2000s. I'm not sure what year, but it was around the 2000s they blew the chimneys up.
Yeah, because it was a popular Watnall market. So a lot of people remember it from being, I don't know, car boot stroke market. Yeah, so I remember it as well.
But they were like a big, you know, a landmark on the motorway when you were in this part of the world.
Now long gone.
Long gone.
Like the headstocks.
Yeah.
So that's us. Cheers, Phil.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cheers, Andy.
All right.
Nice to get out stomping again in the sort of local area of the East Midlands. Bit of an explore. That cutting was cool,
Yeah.
because you're just not expecting that at all. And also some of the remains around Moorgreen. Less happy about Brinsley Headstocks. Don't know what on earth that's all about. Please comment if you've got any kind of insight into what's going on there and what's going to happen in the future, because it'd be great if they did something. Unlike build a housing estate, which is probably what they're going to do because it's the council. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.